feels great. Probably the best feeling that you get. You work all summer, and I mean, it seems like a long summer, but when it's finally here, that's probably the best feeling.
For you, senior year, last go, any individual expectations to be your own?
I mean, just play, give it all I got. Hang on the line because I mean, after this I can't come back to it, so I'm gonna give everything I got.
How good do you think the secondary is going to be? I mean, you've got Quincy, you got Jalen, obviously not for this game, but
Right.
you got Duke.
I feel like we can be great. We put in the work. We've been together for a couple years now. We got a lot of guys that played in a lot of ball games. I feel like we got the best guys outside. We got Duke at the nickel and the safeties. I mean, I feel like as a group, as a whole, we can be great.
And Nick Washington and Marcel, how have they both been looking at the other safety spot?
They both been doing great. They've been flying around, making calls, making plays and stuff like that. So tackling, in the right spots, getting everybody lined up. So I'm excited to see what they got.
To you, what do each of them kind of do? What kind of stands out about their play style that may differentiate from each other?
That's tough. I mean, they both can run. They're both know what they're doing. But I mean, Marcel, he's one of those hard hat guys and stuff like that. Nick, he can cover, he can hit. You can put him deep, and also in the box. So both of those guys can do different things.
Linebackers, seeing Jerry Davis having Alex Anzalone back.
Right.
What do you think about the two of them being there?
Having Alex back from last year is great. I'm excited to see what he can do. He can run. He's big and physical. So, he missed last year, so I'm excited to see what he got this year. And just having JD back and knowing what he can do just makes everything that much easy.
Marcus, obviously this is not your first
Right.
run around when it comes to week ones. What's the different feeling from this week one compared to your first one?
I guess my first one I was not knowing what to expect and stuff like that. But going into this one, being my last season, I'm excited. I've been looking forward to it and all like that. So I'm excited, giving everything I got.
What do you tell the younger guys, the freshmen, about their first game in the swamp?
I mean, it's going to be an adrenaline rush running out of the tunnel, but, once the ball's in the air, just settle in and just play football.
Cool.
McElwain was talking about with season openers, one of the tricky things sometimes is that they'll throw new wrinkles at you, stuff you haven't seen. How much does it help having a defense that you guys have kind of some veterans at every level?
Just knowing, we can, communicate with each other. We know what our D-line's going to do. We know what our linebackers, everybody, knows what they're going to get in the secondary. So just having us, being an experienced defense definitely makes things a lot easier.
Sorry if you've talked about this before, but not having Jalen there, how have things kind of shaped up with the guys filling in for him?
The guys filling in, they're good. We got, Putu, we got Chauncey playing out wide and Duke Dawson. Those guys are, good enough to play. And Jalen being out is, nothing that's, going to hurt and stuff like that. But, those guys are going to step up and play right away.
How much does it help to have someone like Duke with the versatility basically play anywhere in the secondary?
Great. I mean, it makes things a lot easier for us. We can put them out and be just as comfortable as anybody else is out there.
Sorry if someone's asked this already. Obviously, you guys are the heavy favorites this weekend, so should the score run up, what are some things you can take away from this game? What are some challenges UMass presents you with?
They spread the ball around. They're very, versatile what they do. They got a pretty good quarterback. They got one or two receivers that are, tall and can run. They got a great running back. They do a lot of different things. So, we got to be prepared, that they try to trick stuff and stuff.
Can you tell me a little bit about the running back? He's a guy that had a really good season last year. I think put up 100+ on Notre Dame. What does he do?
We watched him on film. He's a physical guy. He can run. He can do a lot. They try to give him the ball as much as they can and stuff like that, out the backfield and, screens and stuff. So, we just got to rally around him, tackle him and stuff like that.
Marcus, what about the running backs on this team? Do you feel like this group is going to be wearing defenses down?
Definitely. I mean, we got, 4 or 5 guys that can, get in and, take it a distance. We got big physical guys and stuff like that. We got speed guys. So, whoever's in is going to be a load the whole game.
Do you think LaMichael, has he been a big surprise? I hear he's busted some pretty big plays.
Yeah, no, he's doing great. He came in as a freshman, came in right away, ready to play. He was excited. You can see it when he was in the weight room, and, it just translated onto the field.
Do you think the quarterback situation going into this season for you guys is in a better place? I know you had a real talented guy last year, but do you feel like maturity-wise, leadership-wise?
Austin and Luke, those guys are, they've been around the program. Appleby being a transfer, he's played in a bunch of games. So just having that experience, having an older guy behind the center, definitely makes things a lot easier.
And why do you think that is?
Just mindset. They know what they're looking at. They can read defenses and stuff like that. So they're heavy into our playbook. So they know what's going on and stuff.
What have you seen from Duke Dawson's maturity and development?
He's been doing great. We know what he can do. He can run. He can cover. He can tackle. You can put him in the slot. You can put him out wide at corner. He can do a lot of different things. So just knowing that he's out there on the field, we're all excited to see him play.
Anything that you've tried to kind of pass down to him over the years in terms of his development?
Just continue to work. I mean, nothing's going to come right away and stuff like that. Just in the film room and stuff like that, knowing what the opposite team's trying to do, just stuff like that, just small, minor details.
What's it like defending those three receivers when they're all on the field? Brandon, Dre, and Callaway.
It's tough. It doesn't matter who you give the ball to with those guys. They have the ability to take it to the distance. With BP and Dre in the slot, we all know what Callaway can do. They all can do different things, so it's definitely tough covering those three.
I mean, you guys have had an explosive guy here and there since you've been here,
right?
But do you feel like that's the most explosive collection you've been able to put out there?
Yeah, definitely, because, like I said, all three of those guys on the field, it's not like you can double team one of the guys and, leave whoever one-on-one. So, if you match up one-on-one with anybody, I feel like our guys are going to win.
Do you feel like leadership on the team has improved from last year to this year?
Definitely, yes. With David Sharp, Jared, and I, Anzalone, just guys that have been around the program for a while. With Brian Cox, Caleb Brantley, just guys that have played a lot of ball. When we speak, everybody listens. When we lead, everybody follows. So. Definitely, it's not like one certain guy. It's more like a collective group of us.
Is Quincy pretty underrated in your opinion?
Not to me, because I know what he can do.
But you mean like to the outside world compared to like Jalen?
Yeah, because with Jalen and Vernon being here and stuff like that. But we all knew Quincy was just as good. He's right there with those guys, and everybody's gonna get to see it this year. So I'm excited for Quincy.
Yeah, Dre said has been the toughest guy to get loose from.
Yeah,
what does he do?
He's 6'2.5", 210. He can run. He can cover. He's probably the biggest out of our corners that's been here in a while. So having that and able to cover is definitely something that Quincy can do.
What's his style? Does he jam guys hard at the line? What's his style?
Like once he gets his hands on you, it's pretty tough to get off into your route and stuff like that. And he also can run, so it's not like you can run away from him. So he can play off and cover you, and he can pressure you, and it's going to be tough.
How big of an opportunity is UMass to give some younger guys on the defense playing time?
It's a big opportunity. If we as the starters do our job and things go the way we plan, having those guys get in and get experience game like time and stuff like that is definitely good. So they can get a feeling of how the game goes.
Will you be on the sidelines, kind of giving information to younger guys who haven't necessarily been in that situation?
Just telling them what's going on out there on the field, and just so they can know what's going on and stuff.
Marcus, with your season quickly approaching, what is your ultimate goal as an individual and as a team?
For me, it's just give everything I got. Just become the best player that I can be. Make plays, make many plays as I can for the team and stuff like that. Just as a team, come out each week, get better. Obviously our goal is to win every game and stuff like that. So, that's what we look forward to as a team and stuff like that.
And if you had to circle 2 games on your schedule that mean the most to you, which would you choose and why?
Definitely the LSU and Florida State game for me, just because we haven't beat those guys in a while, and just those games are mean the most, and we play against great teams.
What about Tennessee?
Tennessee is Tennessee. Obviously we're going to be excited to go there. Everybody's been, on the hype train for them and stuff like that. But we know what we're going to do and stuff like that.
What are you going to do?
Win, of course.
Thanks, Marcus.
Every time we step out on the field, we expect to win. So, we're all excited to go to Knoxville.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.